I'm such a big advocate for all entrepreneurs getting into the collector's game. There is so much that we can learn and pull from and apply to our business experiences to make our businesses actually function better.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
All right, guys, welcome back to part 2 of our Collectors series. We are going to be talking about everything collecting, how the entrepreneurs sort of fit in the collector's world. Is the collecting world still pretty on fire? Is it active? And is there a place, is there a reason, is there any value in getting into the collecting space as an entrepreneur, regardless of industry? So we're going to be chatting about that today. The last episode, we used the POG. I don't know if the cameras can pick this up. For those of you who are not watching, I do apologize. You can always find our show on YouTube. But I'm holding up right now an old POG. This is from this is from my collection. I can't believe, by the way, when I was like researching to do this show, that I actually had some POGs still, which is wild. So this is basically just a nice little I don't know, conversational piece. Look, kids, it's a piece of cardboard that at one point in time was worth money that we played for. Anyway, today's special guest that's going to help us unpack all of this stuff is none other than the producer of Don't Fear Grit, and that is Craig the Man. I call him C-Reg.
I call you Bobby Light.
All right, C-Reg, man, thanks so much for agreeing, even though you had no choice to be a part of today's
True.
episode.
True. Threatened to fire me.
That is not true at all. I only thought it. Anyway, so Craig, I obviously I referenced the POGs. You had no idea what these were.
Nope, I wasn't born in 1945, so...
Oh, you're a funny guy. So we've got a comedian on the show, apparently, guys. Anyway, he had no idea what these were. They were only big for a few years. But from when you were a kid up until now, like, is there anything of similar nature, something like it was like a quick flash in the pan, something that was really popular for like a short window that you remember?
Off the top of my head, no, I can't think of something similar to the POG.
So I was the only one that lived in a time where we like foolishly invested into things that have no value.
I guess so. What'd you guys have to do? There was no TV, so what could you do?
Oh my gosh! Wow,
no
jokes.
talkies.
This guy's got jokes. Well, I can think of a few things, and I don't know. No, I do know. It's not to the level of POGs where it was just like a short window, a short hit like that, but definitely where it was really popular. It did sort of disappear, but it's come back, and I think you're the perfect person to have this discussion, and that's sort of the Pokemon world. Pokemon was definitely after my time, so I never sort of got into it. I don't know a ton about it, other than I know that it became really popular, it fizzled, and now I feel like it's coming back strong. Was that sort of in your world?
Oh, yeah. Pokemon was definitely in my world. I grew up on that. I don't think it necessarily fizzled so much, though. It wasn't so flash in the pan. It was definitely bigger, I would say, in the 90s, that huge craze.
Mm-hmm.
But the series, there's like games and shows, that kind of stayed in the realm of popularity. I think the cards maybe went out.
The brand was around.
The brand was around.
I'm talking about the cards.
The cards, yes, you're right. The cards, yes, they popped in the 90s, and then they kind of they like fluctuate in and out of popularity as time goes by, and now it's on a upward craze again.
Right. Like all, things that are collectible, the way that I always sort of explain it to people, collectibles are simply worth what people are willing to pay for it. That's what, the whole POG things are. Even though the POGs disappeared, there's still a collector market for them. And you're not going to believe me. And for those of you who are listening, please Google this. There's actually a POG set worth $1 million.
Really?
Yeah. The Jurassic Park POG set.
Jurassic Parks?
Pogs. Jurassic Park POG set is actually worth $1 million. And
wow.
And the thing that only creates that type of worth is is there at least two people, because you need a competing, a bidder,
Right.
to drive up the value of these things. And that's what creates a market for this stuff. And then the more people you add, the more valuable, because there's more people involved in bidding up the price in a way. And because otherwise, it doesn't matter what things are in life. It could be anything from a master painting to a POG. They are not worth anything unless there's at least two collectors. And in the case now of Pokemon, I know it's become big again, the Pokemon cards specifically.
Yeah.
What are some of the value of these cards? Like, are you seeing a card go for like $1 million? Like you seeing like a stupid POG?
I haven't seen 1 million, but depending on condition and the era that it came out with. For example, if you have a fresh first edition holographic Charizard from base set 1, it's got to be first edition.
Mm-hmm.
It goes for like $50,000. And I heard there's a guy on YouTube who pulls cards on his show, and he opened a brand new pack from the 90s and pulled that card fresh out of the pack, and he said he got a $100,000 offer for it.
What?
So these things go for a lot.
All right, so this is what brings back though the collectors into the game.
Right.
Now, Pokemon cards were first introduced to the market. What was it? The late 90s?
It was mid to late 90s.
Late 90s. Okay, so it makes sense that you let sort of a certain period of time pass, and then kids that were brought up on it as they get older, now that they can actually afford it, get back into the market. So it actually makes sense that it's coming back now because the timing is perfect.
Right.
So you're in your 20s. I know you're into it. I know you've ponied up some serious money. Are you seeing more people get into this sort of Pokemon trading card game, but not as obviously like a kid, like, oh, I want to see what I can get and have it in my room, but like as a legitimate collector, collecting things that have value, resale value, and trying to selling them?
Well, yeah, and that's like kind of the reason I got back into it, because I kept hearing for like the past 6 months, people, even big guys in the industry, like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, talking about, cards again, and Pokemon cards specifically kept coming up. And like there's new pages popping up on Instagram every day for people trading, buying, collecting Pokemon cards. So I went into my room where I had my old cards. I had gotten rid of most of them like 5 or 6 years ago because I just didn't, I love Pokemon, but I kind of got out of it. And then I was like, let me look at these cards. And I kind of just got, emotional thinking about it from growing up and stuff. I was like, I want to get back into this. And it started as just kind of for fun. And then I started finding some good deals and understanding the value of certain things. And I was like, well, I mean, if I'm smart about it, I can make some good money.
Yeah. Be completely honest, and I'm going to force you to be honest here. I want people to understand like what we're talking about. We're not talking about like, back in the day, 1988, it was, 25 cents for a pack. How much money, if you don't mind, like how much money have you ponied up recently to invest and as a means of trying to resell this stuff?
Right. So recently, I would say it's about $1,600 I have ponied up.
For Pokemon cards?
Yes, specifically sealed boxes.
And how much do you think you're going to be able to sell that stuff for?
I've estimated around $25,000.
25 grand. But where are you getting this information that like that you could sell it for that amount of money?
So I follow a lot of collectors. Mm-hmm. And eBay is a big source of actually my information. Sure. So there's this thing on eBay where if you search up an item, you can hit filter, and then you filter it for sold items, and you can see what is recently sold and like within the past couple months. That's how much these things are going for. So that's how I do my research.
I see. That's smart. I'm glad that you said that, and I was hoping that you were going to say that because it's one thing to see what trying to determine price based on what it's listed for, but you're determining price on what it's selling for.
Yeah.
So that's a realistic number for you.
Yep.
And this is like reason number one why I feel like any person in the entrepreneurial game, I don't care what industry you are in, there is some incredible lessons that you can learn from participating in this. Number one, listen, there's the financial benefit that if you get smart about this, you research and it doesn't take much. Like if you're willing to put in some effort, you can actually make some money, right? So that's the obvious. Well, you know what? I'll go back. I'll call that reason number one. And I'll say reason number two is more what you could learn from this. Now, so you're learning research and development, right?
Right.
And, sales, I don't care what industry you are in. If you are a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you are a painter, if you're in technology, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. The sales is a component of what you do.
Right.
Always, period, end of story. And this is a crash course. It helps you to refine these skills, which is awesome. Also, research and development, that refining that skill will benefit you as an entrepreneur. Talking with people, understanding markets, things are related to each other. Well, absolutely. You have, like, all of these things that we're talking about right now, it's like a spider web of activity, and it connects to everything. And so as an entrepreneur, if you really want to take yourself seriously and elevate your game and scale up your life and scale up your business, then you need to have a broader understanding of all the stuff that's going on. One way of giving yourself a crash course is actually by participating in the collector's market. I'm not saying now to go out and, pony up 20 grand or 30 grand or 100 grand. If you don't know what you're doing, I'm not saying to do that, right? But put out a couple $100 and learn the game. And you don't need a high level understanding of this stuff. Is if you're willing to put in the effort, I believe you can get something out of it. And listen, I'm going to be opening up this pack right here, right? I'm not going to be doing this in the next episode to close out this particular series. This was a pack that I got. Look, this is an entire wax box, right? This is a pack in the wax box. I got this in 1988, and I've been saving it. Now, this particular wax pack right here, I went online, like Craig was saying, and people are selling these for this one for up to $10. And I have no idea how many's in here. I don't know, maybe about 50. So like this wax box is $500. So there's money to be made. There's lots of great information that we can learn. But something that I did when I was a kid is I went to garage sales. I did that all the time as a kid. I don't know if you've ever done that. Yeah. Like I did it because I thought it was cool. Right. Why did you go to garage sales?
I mean, the same. Just find cool stuff that I wanted. I didn't think about when I was younger. You might have. I wasn't thinking about selling it. I was thinking about like playing with it or like.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
It.
I liked cool stuff. As a kid, any type of treasure hunt is cool.
Yeah.
And by going to these garage sales, it's like it's a kid's, only access to something that's cool. Right. Because otherwise, the only thing that you're getting something when you're a kid is if your parents give it to you. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're more likely to get it at a garage sale because it's marked down, so your parents will buy.
Oh, absolutely.
So absolutely.
And I remember as a kid getting like Hot Wheels. Right. I remember getting lots of baseball cards. I remember that as a kid, Yeah. But now, coupling that really great nostalgic experience that I had as a kid to technology and we're in 2020 and the year of eBay and all this other stuff. And the great tip, by the way, that you just gave is you go to a garage sale. You comb the garage sale. And by the way, as you do this more and more and more, you're not going to have to research it as much, because now you have all the experience and it's in your head. Hopefully you have the ability to recall that that stuff. But the thing is, we all have our cell phones. Like we're a walking encyclopedia no matter where we go. You go to a garage sale, you see some really cool stuff. Instead of guessing, take out your phone and research it. Right. And Craig, your tip was amazing. Look, sold items, what they sold for. And if it's a stuffed animal, and I'm using this because I've actually did this with my kids. If it's a stuffed animal that you see this stuffed animal sold for $20 and the guy's selling it for $5, that's a profit margin.
Right.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I actually started that with my kids almost 2 years ago. I wanted to teach my kids the art of selling. I wanted to teach my kids negotiation. I wanted to teach my kids, a basic level of economics. I wanted to teach my kids responsibility. And I was like, you know what? eBay is the easy way to do this. So what we do is every now and then we go through all of their stuff and I have them separate things that they want to get rid of. And what we do is we take these things, I have them, they know how to do it now. They go on eBay, they figure out what it's selling, they take pictures, they write a description, and they sell it. And I help them out, and I tell them, listen, whatever it sells for, you get to keep 100% of the money. And then sometimes we even do contests, like who can sell the first item, And then what I'll do is with my kids, whoever's item sells first on eBay is I'll let them actually choose anything to do, and I'll take them there. Whether it be like going to the arcade, like Dave & Buster's, or going to Chili's. My kids love going to Chili's, whatever it is. So, I mean, it ends up like costing me more money for that particular lesson, but I feel like that lesson is priceless when I'm teaching my kids. And so even at a small scale, even with kids, there's so much that we can learn from this experience, which is why I'm such a big advocate for all entrepreneurs getting into the collector's game. There is so much that we can learn and pull from and apply to our business experiences to make our businesses actually function better. Now listen, collecting, it's without a drug. Like, is it not?
Yes.
Like, can you become addicted to collecting?
I am starting to get very addicted to collecting. Yes.
Right. Listen, so you need to balance it, right? So that's why if you're going to do this, get an accountability partner.
Right.
Right. And have this person help balance you out, because you could get out of control with collecting. I've been there. I've done that. My very first business was actually in the antiques and art world, and I experienced moments where I got out of control, just accumulating so much stuff because I loved it.
I feel like you want to get some money back on your investment before you start investing again.
Absolutely.
So get some money back, and then instead of just like buying, like, okay, I'm going to get more deals. And you have no money, and those investments might not pan out. Make sure you get some money back on them first, and then you invest again. That's what I would say.
Right. But you're actually making a great point of another lesson that we can learn here. The art of buying and selling is, buy low, sell high.
Right.
And, not just buy low and keep forever.
Right.
You only take profits once you sell something. So there's a lot to learn there. But yes, I don't think, I'm not encouraging anyone to be, whimsical here. I'm saying be responsible, be prepared, do your research, do your homework, put in the effort. There's a lot that you can get out of this, whether it be finances, experiences, great lessons. These are all things that we can now apply to our lives and help our lives function at a higher level, which is awesome. You mentioned, some of these baseball card packs. I remember when I was a kid going to garage sales, and I would get like some baseball cards. They were so cheap at garage sales. You know what I mean? Like $1, you could get like 100 baseball cards. Right. And I remember we'd take the cards, and as a kid, we'd play a game, throwing them against the wall and seeing if they can like land. What is it, like leaning against the wall versus like flat or whatever? And if you did, like, you won. It was like this crazy thing.
Throwing like $500 cards against the wall, you realize?
Well, but as a kid, first of all, you don't know the value of these things. Right. In the 80s, there wasn't tremendous value in the card, even though there was a lot of kids collecting them. They became more valuable as the trading card industry really started to inject brand new life by adding like signature series, adding like the game worn jersey fragments, the bat fragments, and like they just like added new life into this. And then also what helped is the players got better. It made the sports more attractive to an audience, more entertaining, and then more kids started to really pay attention to the sports more. This is why I in my opinion, baseball suffered in the 2000s. Because listen, after the steroid era, no one was hitting home runs anymore. Right. I think for kids it became boring. And then once baseball itself is boring, it really affects lots of different markets. One of them was the trading card market that got hit in the 2000s. It's coming back now because sports...
They're doing steroids again?
They're not doing steroids, but, players definitely improved. They got better. And I think maybe some of the rules changes benefited the players, and it's an entertaining game now. And so I think that's in part why the trading market is coming back for kids, but also, like I was saying before, why Pokemon cards are coming back now is once kids cycle through, and it's like that 15 to 20 year mark of when they collected as a kid, when they get older, they have the money. Right. So now what do? They go back, and all the things they thought were cool, they got this, which is why like muscle cars, the baby boomers buy muscle cars. Right. Because when they were, kids, teenagers, they love that. Yeah. So they buy them all right now. So that's sort of the game, the collector's market. Now, so we'll just close with this. Actively, whether, we'll talk about your age group because obviously that's what you could speak with authority on. Is in addition to the sort of Pokemon world, are there any other products that you're seeing, people really start to really pony up some serious cash for?
Yeah, I would say there's a couple of things. There's clothing industry, sneakers specifically. People pony up a lot of cash for sneakers, and some people don't even, they wear them a couple times and then they kind of put them in a box.
Right. By the way, I know you are very particular about your footwear.
Yes.
Like they always look brand new.
I appreciate that because no one else says that. I got made fun of heavily for my footwear, and I was like, let me step it up.
Yeah.
And I don't wear most of them now. I buy them.
Yeah.
I wear them a couple times, and then I kind of leave them.
See, for me, I always think like what's the point, right? You know, but it's not fair for me to impose how I feel about it on you.
Yeah, don't judge me, Rob. Let me live my life.
I'm not judging you, but it's amazing. Like the sneaker market, I'm always shocked. I've got some family members, younger family members that get into that game. Like they'll drive out to like Brooklyn where there's like a brand new shipment of sneakers.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet for like the Yeezys.
Oh,
I haven't bought Yeezys.
Oh, and
yet.
they
Too expensive on my size.
Oh my gosh, and they pony up some serious cash, but within a couple weeks they like double their money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. First, the price that you paid I thought was too much,
Right.
but then people are paying double the amount that you
Yep.
just paid for a sneaker.
Yeah.
You know, in some of these cases, they were telling me like $800.
That's like a quick flip, especially
Like,
if it's like a
what?
Yeezy sneaker because they sell out so quick
Yeah,
that if you just buy a couple,
yeah.
you sell them on eBay and next week, the price skyrockets.
That's crazy. See, that's something I feel like you can get lost in.
Yes.
So if you're an
'Cause
entrepreneur,
a huge investment.
yeah, listen, if you're an entrepreneur and you're inspired by this story and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I want to try to get into this to learn something. I don't recommend getting into the sneaker market because I also think that's a market that you could probably get hurt. You need
Right.
to have some knowledge
Right.
there.
I also think you gotta kind of have a little bit of passion behind what it is you're
Yes.
collecting. I feel like that helps you because
Yeah.
for me, like if you told me to start collecting, I don't know, POGs,
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right. I'd get bored of it pretty quick because I
Yeah.
have no emotional attachment to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Pokemon cards I've always loved. So
Right.
I was like, I want to learn. I
Yeah.
want to know more about it. So I
Mhm.
think you should have a little passion towards what you're collecting as well.
You have wisdom, Craig.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to end with that right there. The last piece of wisdom, and this is actually courtesy of Craig, C-Reg, is pick something that you're passionate about, whether it be like historically, dip into your childhood, something that you really enjoyed, and start there. Or even if it's not something from your childhood, it could be a little bit more recent, but at least that it's the dual threat, right? So now you're going to test the waters as an entrepreneur to learn something, and you're going to invest in something at the very least. If you can't resell it,
You can keep it.
you could keep it
Yeah.
because you're passionate about it.
Right.
Versus like you were just saying, I think it's a great point. Is I don't even know where I did with it. Here we go. The POG. Like if I was like, Craig, go out and buy $1,000 worth of POGs, and you never resold them, you're like,
Right.
what the heck am I doing? What can I do with
I
POGs?
come back with 100 pugs.
Right. Pick something that you're passionate about because that's how you have to weigh the upside and the downside. If the downside, the worst case scenario is that you get to keep something that you love, then you didn't lose. Right?
Right.
So that there's great advice right there. So anyway, this is the closeout for the part 2 of this brand new series about collecting and entrepreneurs. Find Craig. Craig's all over Instagram. He's got an amazing channel. He's what's something that he did not mention. He's a big Marvel guy.
Yes. Oh, Hot Toys collectibles are also a very big thing.
Yes.
And Funko Pops.
Yeah. You know, we actually have. You have some Hot Toys here. We should have
do.
brought them in.
Yeah, we should.
You know. But anyway, so follow Craig. Craig, what's your handle?
Mine is Craig.Shukri, Shukri.
There you go. Find him, follow him, see what he's up to. I know he's going to be launching some pretty cool stuff, some brand new content soon. But anyway, guys, we want to just encourage and inspire everyone here. That's really the basis of Don't Fear Grit in every episode that we've ever done here is we want to empower you guys to be able to do great things, but also we want you guys to embrace the idea of grit, efforts. And that's what we're saying to do here is that with effort, and you have the ability to execute and do great things. And here's a great example where you can hone those talents through the collector's market. It doesn't take a lot, but you can get a lot from it. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, don't fear the process and don't fear grit. We'll see you next time.